Good evening and welcome to the Red Sea podcast. I am the Southern Scouser and I'm here with my brother, Samuel Tompkins, the Man United fan of the family. Really big one when this fixture comes around with us. Obviously, we've been watching it together for many, many years. We're going to get into the game, the season so far, and what's to come in terms of predictions for the remainder of the season. Let's get going.
Tell the world, we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of our field goal. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
Hello, welcome along to the show. So Liverpool off the back of a fantastic result away to Atletico Madrid last night, 3-2 victory, and Man United's turn tonight against Atalanta. So quickly thoughts on tonight's game and Liverpool last night.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to you yesterday. Like Klopp said, it was a dirty win, like he called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not overly confident about United tonight, the way we've been going, but yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, I remember Atalanta, we had them in our group stage. I think it was either last year or the year before. I think we had a 5-0 victory away, Jota hat-trick, but they did actually beat us at Anfield. So they're a very difficult team to come up against Atalanta. I think they're still managed by the same person, the Argentinian. But they're very similar to Atletico Madrid in a way. They've got those South American players. They know how to win dirty. They try every trick in the book. And I was really impressed with Liverpool last night. You know, in that cauldron atmosphere, really difficult place to go. Simeone's absolute shithousery, isn't he? You know, he doesn't even shake Klopp's hand at the end of the game, but a fantastic result. 3 wins from 3.
That's your hardest fixture, done and dusted with, isn't it?
100%.
You've got your 3 points, so, you know, Milan on 0, struggling.
Yeah.
You look pretty comfortable. So
yeah, Porto managed to get the win last night. So they're on 4. I think Atletico also on 4, and we're now over on 9. So realistically, I think, unless we completely cock it up with the remaining 3 fixtures, we've got to go to Milan. It's not easy. Porto at home, you think, is a 3 points after winning 5 away, and Atletico Madrid at home, it's one of them, isn't it? They could win, we could draw, we could lose. I don't think it's going to matter too much. And United really got a bit of work to do tonight, haven't they, with Atalanta? They've already dropped some points against the first team that you played against in the group stage. Young boys.
Got off to a good start as usual.
Yeah, you just about done Villarreal in the last minute.
Exactly, yes. Like I say, even when we do get the result, it's the performance that's still a worry. So you know, you watch that absolutely drivel for 90 minutes, and then obviously, like the little boy inside you wants to go crazy. It's a 95th minute Ronaldo winner. Yeah, but then the adult fans thinking like, hold on, is this
paper in the cracks?
Yeah, is this, you know, just prolonging the inevitable? But
yeah, absolutely. But we're going to get into, obviously, rather than tonight's game, we're going to get into the weekend's game tonight: Liverpool versus Man United at Old Trafford in the Premier League. So always one of them ones where form is very difficult with this game. It doesn't seem to matter who's in good form for this one. It just depends who turns up on the day. And I remember the last season, you know, we had a few. The one was called off because of the fan protest. We had a 0-0. We had a 4-2 victory, and we had a cup loss as well. So in terms of Sunday's game, do you expect more of the same, or what? What are you thinking about it?
Yeah,
what are your early thoughts?
Like I say, it's sometimes a bit of a bogey ground for you. I need to say form out the window. You normally struggle depending on whatever the situation is, but it feels very similar to when like the atmosphere when Moyes was there. Yeah, you came and turned up and absolutely played us off the park. Obviously, it was like Gerrard nearly had a hat-trick of penalties. It feels like that sort of performance is coming.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, you're in a crazy run of form, and we're struggling to find a performance even when we do win. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm overly confident about what's coming.
No, that leads me perfectly into our first part of the agenda of the season so far. You've just mentioned Liverpool on a 21-game unbeaten run, which stretches back to last season. And you know, we've drawn at home to City, we've drawn at home to Chelsea, but you know, they're games that we lost last season. Atletico Madrid, we've got our own back on. A really good performance against Watford so far, and like you say, United sort of struggling a little bit. Not, you know, not
different start.
Yeah. So what is your thoughts on the season so far for United point of view?
I think Ollie's biggest problem is, like, we'll talk about them a bit later, but the 3 big signings that come in,
I'm going to get onto them.
All he talks about in every press conference is progression. Like today, he was saying, you know, I took over, came 6th for half a season, then came 3rd, then came 2nd. So we, you know, it's like unless we don't win a league now, it's like, oh, the progression stops. But you know, obviously everyone else improves as well. But we'll have to see.
it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you make a really good point with progression. You know, if everybody stands still, you can go from 4th to 3rd to 2nd. And Liverpool did something very similar under Klopp. You know, we came in, he was 8th. Then we were trying to get in the top 4. Then it was meant to be a title challenge, and then we won the league. And you know, in that we won the Champions League as well. So it's a difficult one because Chelsea had a transfer ban during that improvement for you. Liverpool had an injury crisis during that slow increase, and Man City have always been pretty much finishing above you in the last few years as well. So have you really closed the gap, or has it been a false kind of position?
I mean, last year it felt like a very Mourinho second season one. We were second, but never got the plaudits because we were a country mile away from City. So we
best of the rest.
You know, I can't remember the last time we actually came second with a shout of having the, you know,
in the title race.
Taking the race to, you know, the last couple of months was it's sort of done and dusted by January, February, and we're just sort of playing the rest of the games out. I
mean, it's probably been since Fergie, isn't it, that you've been involved in a proper title race?
Well, yeah, like you say, we've either fallen away, or like fans are saying this season it's gone already, and it's October. So.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I wanted to just have a quick look at the league table. You say the season's gone already. You know, Liverpool sitting pretty comfortably up there in 2nd place, the best goal difference in the league, 1 point behind Chelsea, 1 point ahead of City. United find themselves in 6th position and 14 points, only 4 less than Liverpool. So a win this weekend.
You look at the teams that we've played already and the teams that are coming up. You know, like say you've already played your City and your Chelsea's. We're dropping points to Villa at home, Everton at home.
True.
You know, it's
that's
like,
5, wasn't it?
And even when we do, when it's a grind, or it's like, you know, a little bit of luck, or yet to actually see a performance consistently.
Well, I mean, I look at that away run that you went on, and you know, you're always coming from behind, weren't you? I mean, you did, you know, you've lost it now, but that Leicester game has ended that brilliant away run. But even though it was a fantastic away run,
can you count it though if it's a training game with no fans?
I think that's harsh. I think you definitely count it, but it's just it's one of them, isn't it? When if you're always coming back, it's always a grind. You know, the Southampton games when you're relying on Cavani,
it just became expected. Yeah. I got to the stage where I was just expecting to go 1-0 down and
fight your way back.
I wasn't getting that feeling of dread, like, oh God, like are we gonna drop points? It was almost like we needed that for a wake up call, and then to kick on second half. And almost sort of half-heartedly watching it, thinking, well, I know we're going to be dreadful. I've got to give it half an hour until we actually get going. So.
No, absolutely. But I mean, like you say, we've touched on it a little bit there. Recent results, obviously, Liverpool won a fantastic run. I went to the Watford game, you know, unbelievable performance. Watford were woeful. But you know, you can only beat what you got in front of you. And I just wanted to touch on that man, Mo Salah. Are you quaking in your boots for him coming to Old Trafford this weekend?
I mean, was that his first goal against us last time or something? And scored for a while already.
No, so he got one in the 4-2 win.
Yeah, I think that was like, you know, his big drought that was ending. But I mean, I don't think, you know, if we've not got Varane, Maguire's not ready. You know, Shaw's not been in his best form. I think De Gea is going to be a very busy boy come Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, it's not just Salah. I mean, I think arguably he's probably the most informed player in world football right now, maybe up there with Lewandowski, Haaland area. But, you know, Sadio Mane started to hit the goals. Firmino's off the back of a hat-trick now. That front three is now clicking, a bit like it did in 2018, 2019. You know, it's coming back again. So I look at your defence and I think Maguire against Leicester, poor. Lindelof, not great. Boy, not great. Varane, injured. Sure, Wan-Bissaka haven't had the best start to the season, so it's looking in our favour.
The thing that worries me most is obviously last year you only came 5 points behind us, and you literally had half a squad for the whole season. You know, like you're sort of back. You know, say back to your best. Obviously, like see how it unfolds. But you've got your spine. Your Van Dijk's back. Your Ellison's going to be in there consistently. Fabinho's able to play where he is. With us, it's like watching two 5-a-side teams on the same pitch at once.
Yeah, the attack and the defense.
Because I was thinking it, and then I Neville actually did a little bit on it on Monday night. He was drawing a line halfway through, and it was just like, well, you've got Ronaldo, Greenwood, Sancho, Bruno, Pogba. Yeah, they're like, well, we don't want to come and do the dirty work.
They're waiting for the ball.
Yeah, we want the ball. We want to plaudits and score goals. And then you've got the other half that are like, oh, like we've got no attacking, brain cell, but we're gonna just have to sit here and soak up the pressure, and we'll be overrun.
I think that's the difference between Liverpool and Man United that you've wrapped up in a nutshell. Because you look at Liverpool's midfield, most of the time you've got Fabinho and Henderson in there, and then another like a Jones.
Like so, you work as a unit. We're sort of just like a bunch of individuals, and like I say, it's the classic PE teacher Solskjaer, and like go and enjoy yourselves. Just
go out there.
I'll pick 5 superstars, basically give them the ball and see what happens. But
I think you're missing that link, and I was going to touch on it a little bit here because you know, I look at your midfield. Pogba is not really a box to box, is he? Bruno Fernandes, he's not going to do much defensive work. And the two defensive players that you do have, McTominay and Fred, are so, in my opinion, and I think yours, so far off the level required.
Yeah.
You know, we've got, for example, yesterday, Atletico Madrid came back into the game. Fabinho comes on at half time. They don't score again. He's a progressive player. I think that's what I wanted to get onto. I'm going to touch on the managers in a minute, but in terms of positions to buy, because you've bought 3 players, but I don't feel you looked at the one area you needed most.
Yeah, it's definitely been neglected. I feel like the priority's definitely been overlooked because of the whole Ronaldo saga, the fact he was available.
Yeah.
I wonder if we would have gone in for CDM sort of like, you know, deadline day, if Ronaldo was happy at Juve or like no chance we could get him. But we definitely need someone like a Rice or you know, that sort of, because he fits the mold as well. You know, like he's like the Sancho, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like the upcoming. He's
Young,
already
English.
at the level that would improve us, but he's also got the potential. And yeah, like he fits the sort of mold of player that we'd be looking for. So
yeah, I mean, do you think it's one, and then you could fit people around him if they were good enough, like a Fabinho, like a Kante, or do you need 2?
Like you got Carragher saying like, oh, Bruno and Pogba, you know, can't play together. But obviously, Neville's like, well, how does De Bruyne and Silva and David Silva all play together? Obviously, they're well drilled. That's the difference that Guardiola can make to a Solskjaer, obviously.
Yeah.
But when Solskjaer first came in, he was playing a 4-3-3. We had Matic, Herrera, and Pogba.
Yeah.
And then obviously Bruno came in on that January, and then you know, took the world by storm and carried on for another season. But yeah, there's no reason why they can't play it. I think it's more about, you know, the actual instructions that they're given.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think if you've got a world-class CDM like a Kante, like a Fabinho, you can afford to have different style midfielders in there. But when you've got a 10, which is something Liverpool never really have, you've got to probably have that double pivot with that Fred. And I don't think you even have one, let alone 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like the amount of comparisons you get. As soon as anyone says anything negative about Pogba, all you hear is, but he's right for France, like every single time. But you know,
5 years later,
when he was at Juve, everyone's like, oh yeah, Pirlo's sitting, and then obviously you've got Kante at France.
True.
But when you watch Pogba for United, he's sort of almost a bit tentative. Like he's like, oh, do I go forward? Do I go back? He's always sort of like chasing or never quite settled where he needs to be.
We've seen him on the left wing as well, trying to find a position for him to do stuff.
You know, the thing that they don't work hard enough, but you know, Pogba's got the engine. He should be able to burst around all day long. Bruno's one of the hardest workers in the league off the ball. Yeah, you know, when they were doing the combined team.
Didn't put him in, did he?
Carragher was saying, like Ronaldo wouldn't fit, but like, and then Neville put Firmino over Bruno, but
in the 10,
you know, I think Bruno's like that Coutinho sort of mold, and you feel like a creative
spark, you know?
So I think that's what you've actually been looking for a while. So
I agree, and I love having this chat with James, Thiago's father, my co-host. That, you know, Thiago was apparently brought in to be exactly that, but I don't feel that he's that kind of position. He's a much deeper line playmaker. He's not a 10.
He's more of a tempo dictator, and he, like Coutinho is someone you ping the ball in, and then you want to he's the assister. Thiago is sort of the ball before something happens.
I agree, but I think that's what you're missing, if I'm honest. And obviously we've mentioned Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho. What do you feel they've done so far? If you could, you know, if you say you had to give them all a ranking out of 10, for example, so far, the impact they've had, what would you rate it?
Varane's difficult because he's just got a knock, obviously like different league and stuff.
He's only just come in as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, so it takes a while to sort of build a partnership with Maguire, and then the problem is as well, how often is Maguire going to be available as well, because he's starting to get a few knocks and stuff. So
didn't look himself against Leicester.
It's getting to the point where Varane will come back, and then he'll be playing with Lindelof, and then Lindelof will get injured, and it'll be buying Maguire.
Be like us last season, so 20 different combinations.
I'm hoping we can actually get a stable back 4 or 5 for, you know, a couple of months. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he does hit the ground running, eventually he should be our best centre back by a mile.
Well, he's a top player, isn't he? Like, let's be fair.
You know, if you'd rewind 6 months, any club in Europe is wanting Varane.
100%.
Sancho looked like the hottest teenage property in Europe. Yeah, you know, linked with every club under the sun. Yeah. And I don't think, as much as people say Ronaldo doesn't work hard off the ball and wouldn't suit certain styles, I'm pretty sure no one turns down Ronaldo, do they? So
no, I mean, you know, Ronaldo started on fire. I think he got 5 in 5, something like that. But he's not scored for a while now. So you know, let's give him ratings out of 10 if you can. So Ronaldo out of 10 so far. how do you feel? Dan? Or if you want to do it like a school grade, maybe that'd be easier.
I mean, like
a B+ or a C-.
He started well, but the problem is with him, it's more about like the service and how much you can actually get him involved.
Just on that, do you think Ronaldo has impacted Bruno? Do you think it's been a negative effect on Bruno?
I mean, like I said, when you watch Portugal, like Bruno doesn't stand out as much as he does for United. Like when you're watching like the Euros and stuff, he's not even like getting in, starting in the lineup. So maybe it's taken a bit of the spotlight off him a bit. But then again, on the flip side, he was one of the reasons. He was one of the people that were actually trying to get him to come. So it's not like it's not like it's been forced upon him. He still looked like he was on the penalties before he ballooned one over. So see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think if you go on a poor run of form, you can just say, oh, like Ronaldo's like, the sole reason. I think there's a lot more going on behind him.
Yeah.
If you put Ronaldo in City's team, they've probably want to win every game this season. So
yeah, and he's probably going to be getting at least a goal a game.
Oh, exactly.
With the service he's getting from Foden, Silva, Mahrez, Sterling.
I mean, if you're rating Ronaldo on his like individual performances, I don't know, be like a B- or something.
Yeah, I think that's better, the school rating. So B- for Ronaldo. Varane, difficult, but I don't think he's done a lot wrong when he's been in there.
Yeah, I mean, like the problem is with our clean sheets. Like, it's not. I think we had a bad run before he came in, and it's not really like that had a Van Dijk effect where it's all suddenly
it's not
clicked.
shored up, is it?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe just a C for Varane.
Yeah,
obviously it's an improvement personnel wise, but we're yet to see like that real impact.
Absolutely.
And then Sancho. I mean, how low are we going?
Is it an F? Is it a U? Is it an E?
I mean, the fact that it's a bit like a cater, you wait for a year for them to come in,
very true,
and then you still feel like you're waiting for them to sign. So, like I say, would it be an E, a generous E? He's literally not got a goal or an assist. He's played about half the games, been dragged off a couple of times, but I think it's more because of my expectations. I'm thinking he's going to come in, have like a Bruno effect, and
it's not quite happened, is it? I mean, we've seen the emergence of Mason Greenwood, who's been fantastic this season. Marcus Rashford's due to come back into the team soon.
Yeah,
we've got Ronaldo and Cavani sometimes playing together when you need a goal desperately. So, has Sancho been again? Is it just because Ronaldo's suddenly become available that Sancho's almost become second choice now?
Yeah, like I say, 74 million, and then you're still discussing McTominay and Fred 2 seasons later. So you think could that have waited, or did that need to happen because he'd have gone elsewhere?
Yeah.
Or we were so sort of like focused on getting him last year that we wouldn't change the targets and stuff.
Yeah, you'd already kind of agreed it, hadn't you?
Yeah. Already sort of unofficially had him in our plans for a year.
Yeah, they weren't going to pull out, were you?
Yeah, it'd be interesting if anything happens in January. Like obviously, if it's like a manager change, or does someone get another load of funds and stuff? Yeah,
because that's why
elephant in the room.
So let's talk about it then, because we put it off for 20 minutes or so. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what do you make of him? Is he going to last the season? And if he's not, or even if he is, does he go at the end, and who comes in?
I mean, every time there's like the Solskjaer debate, I always go back to just the Lampard at Chelsea. You've got the squad. Like we say, obviously, recruitment and the players is like 90% of getting results and being a successful team.
Yeah, you can only polish a turd so much.
If Guardiola's in charge of Watford,
it's going to take a while.
It's not going to be Champions League football,
no,
apart from a miracle. But Lampard had that squad capable of clearly winning the Champions League because Tuchel came in, found a system, and got 90+% out of the players consistently. Agreed. Lampard's chilling in ninth, and that's the thing with United. We're not a serious club at the moment. Like Chelsea are a serious club, City are a serious club. If Klopp suddenly went off and started to struggle, I think you'd be a serious club and be like, well, thanks for what you've done, but we're not just going to be a nice little retirement home before you fancy the Germany job. But yeah, I think a few names have been floating around, like Ten Hag. I think the Ajax guy,
Conte, Zidane.
Obviously Conte and Zidane, yeah. But I just feel like because of the signings, he's had 500+ mil, I think.
That's a lot of money.
Sort of had a free run until you got the job properly. Then looked awful again until Bruno came in and saved him.
True.
So he talks about progression, but it's just recruitment. It's just the fact that our team's improving. I wouldn't say he's necessarily got any better than
he's just improved the personnel in the team.
Yeah, it just feels like it's like a 6-month cycle on repeat. And then whenever he looks like a loss or two away from you know, see you later. He somehow digs something out. Yeah, like obviously we gave him the job. Then we had the 3 after the PSG. Yeah, that horrendous 3 months, and then obviously saved by the bell because the season ended. If it would have gone on any longer, I think they'd
could have been in trouble.
Changed their mind.
Yeah.
Looked terrible before Bruno came in. That loss to Burnley at home.
Yeah.
Old Trafford was empty. We were like, oh, that's it. You just got that sort of like Mourinho Sevilla loss vibe. Just like that is it's the last time we've seen him. And then yeah, it was very close because we had a terrible start to the season when we came second as well. And then he came out with that rant when we played Everton on that early kickoff, and he was like, "Oh, we've been set up to fail." Because that was like if he lost that, it was almost like he was gone.
That was the end, yeah.
So he's had like three sort of mini spells where you think, "Oh, his time's up."
But he's managed to.
And then even then, that was when we had Spurs with Mourinho in charge. Then we had City, and then we won them both, and it was like, "Oh, he's just come back from the dead again." Yeah.
I think that's a really good point that you make, because you look at Jurgen Klopp and the Liverpool team that he inherited. Some of the players were already there that we still use today. A lot of them weren't, but people like Van Dijk, you bring Van Dijk in. He was at Southampton. He was a good centre half. There's no way in the world that he was that good already. So Klopp has had that impact on him. Robertson again comes in from Hull, decent player. Klopp made him a well beater. Trent comes through the youth. There's no way Trent becomes as good as he is under an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's one of the frustrating things, because you see all these like compilations, you're watching Sancho for half an hour, think, oh look, like this is what we've got to look forward to.
Yeah.
And then it's nearly November, and you're like, well,
when is it?
Yeah. Well, like, what's happened? It can't just be, are we settling in? Like he's English. He's already played in England with City.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't have the greatest Euros. Didn't exactly play a lot, but
no. But I mean, he's playing with Shaw on sometimes on that side. Wan-Bissaka, another English player.
Yeah, I think the most worrying thing is with Solskjaer, and the reason people get on his back, you see the lineup, and apart from obviously like the midfield combo, you don't really see a lot wrong with it. Like there's not a lot of players in that. Like when I saw the Leicester
change
team,
too many.
I was like, I think he had Pogba and Matic start, because all this about McFred is the problem. Well, they didn't play, and then we lose 4-2.
Concede 4 goals.
Yeah, I think McTominay came on late, but Fred wasn't available.
Yeah, and damage was done.
You know what I think about Fred, so it's clearly a deeper root, a cause that's.
I think so.
It's not just down to a midfield partnership.
No,
it's got to come back on actual tactics and player instructions,
So we need two CDMs and a manager, and we're going to win the league.
You're going to win the league. Midfield partnership that works would be nice, and more than a plan A to get you out of trouble.
So say Newcastle take one of them. Who are you taking, Conte or Zidane?
Who would I prefer?
Have the two, or if there's someone else as another option.
I'd be more of a Zidane fan. I think. Obviously, thing was with Conte, he's had the Chelsea connection. Yeah, he's come here. He's changed his system when it wasn't working. And he's sort of changed it on the fly, didn't he? And won the league comfortably.
I can't see United playing a back five.
That's the thing. Like Conte is just more of a modern Mourinho, isn't he? Like you sort of accept that you're not going to play the nicest looking football.
You're going to get results.
Yeah. But if he gets you a Premier League and then an FA Cup, you'd be quite happy. Obviously, with Chelsea, they get rid of him for some reason.
Yeah.
With Zidane, people are saying like, oh, he's only done it at one club, but then look what he did do with one club.
3 Champions Leagues and back to back. I mean,
and then it's not just because he had Ronaldo, because Ronaldo went and then he won the leagues again.
Yeah. Came back second time.
Obviously, Barca weren't exactly the Barca that we knew, but they still had Messi. So.
And Atletico Madrid are a good team.
Yeah, exactly.
They won the league last season.
With Zidane, you've got the Varane link up, the Pogba French link up. You've got Ronaldo back with him again. So, I don't think you could really go too wrong with that.
No, that's fair enough. So, jogging it on slightly then. So, we've got some upcoming fixtures for United. A very difficult run coming up. I just wanted to run through that. So, obviously, Liverpool at the weekend, Atalanta tonight. You then got Spurs away, Atalanta again, Man City, Watford, Villarreal, Chelsea and Arsenal. So, realistically, after that run of results, where do you see? Are you going to be in for the title challenge, or are you going to be purely focused on top 4? Because let's be honest, I think the top 3 is done and dusted already. I think that 4th place is available. I think you're probably going to be looking at Spurs, West Ham, Everton, Leicester. But I mean, it's looking at the squad, that's got to be yours, isn't it? Minimum.
I mean, before the season kicked off, we were saying top 4's done already. There was a 4,
big teams,
unless Leicester did another surprise, but they sort of seemed to have just be dropping off a little bit.
Yeah, they're struggling a bit.
But yeah, like I say, that's the fact that we came second and then we improve. You're thinking, well, anything lower than third or fourth is going to be a bit of a
Going
disappointment.
backwards.
But as it stands, like I say, Tuchel's come in, won the Champions League, and is top. So you can't really do much more. You're looking back to your best with everyone fit and firing.
Yeah, unbeaten.
Yeah, you can never really rule out City, even though they've not got your number 9. But obviously, it's a bit like a Spain Euro 2012. Just play
Foden
25 midfielders and
dominate the ball.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, at the moment,
would you take 4th if I gave it to you now?
I mean, if Solskjaer stays, do you think that happens?
I think that's it, isn't it? I think if you have Ollie for the whole season, I think you probably take 4th. Whereas I think you probably twist, wouldn't you? Get a proper manager in and have a real go, because it's only if you beat Liverpool this weekend, it's 1 point.
I mean, with the squad we have, obviously we're missing like that. If you chucked a Fabinho in, suddenly it's like
massive difference.
Suddenly, like title would be anything less than the title would be
with the attacking talent you have. But
I think the fact that you've got that squad, but then Solskjaer to go with it, sort of lowers the expectation a bit. It's always seen as acceptable to be chilling in 5th.
Yeah,
4th.
because you've got Ole Gunnar.
Like say if Chelsea were 6th now with Tuchel, it'd be like, what are we doing? Like he'd be on the map. Like for some reason he gets like a 3 or 4 week bonus period where he's like just fine. Whereas anyone else, it would be like big trouble.
I mean, like you say, you're sitting in 6th place. You're below Brighton after 8 games. I mean, that's unacceptable, isn't it? I know it's only a point.
I know City had a poor start last year. They were like bottom half after like a few games.
3 games.
But then obviously they sort it out very quickly because they've got a bit of trust there.
But you've got that horrible run of fixtures coming up. You talk about 2nd, 3rd, 4th, but that points gap is what really counts. Do you think you could be, even with a manager change at the end of that horrible run, could it be gone?
It all comes down to what the ambition is. Obviously, like over the last few years, the Glazers are quite happy with 4th, so we're basically just a richer Arsenal. That's pretty much what we've been for a while.
Like you say, Arteta 8th and currently 13th.
I mean, the thing that also winds me up, this whole narrative like, oh, Solskjaer has to win a trophy, otherwise he's gone. Or it's like, well,
League Cup or the UEFA Cup ain't going to do it, though, is it?
Yeah, like it depends what. And then if he wins the FA Cup, but then we're 8th, like he's still gone. Like Van Gaal came 5th, won the FA Cup, and was sacked the next day. Mourinho didn't win anything second season, but came 2nd, and they gave him another bite, and then got rid of him in Christmas.
Plus, he won the Europa League, which qualified you into the Champions League.
Mourinho wouldn't have survived the first season if we lost to Ajax. So Champions League is more of an ambition for the natural silverware. Like I say with Arteta, he came 8th but won the FA Cup and stuck around. If Solskjaer does that this season, is he staying around? I don't know.
I mean, like you say, so Premier League is a bloody hard grind. But say you change your manager in January, say you get through the Champions League group stage, could you go and win the Champions League with a different manager?
Champions League is a bit
with Zidane, expert.
Well, like I say, if you could handpick one manager now to be successful in Europe, other than the Klopp or Guardiola, it's Zidane, isn't it? Like he's been there, done it. Only manager in history to actually do the treble. And it's not like a whole different crop of players. He's already worked with 2 of them.
Varane, Ronaldo.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if you get rid of Solskjaer, if Solskjaer went now, the expectation suddenly just goes up a whole level.
Massively.
At the moment, it's sort of like, we've got Ronaldo, we've got Pogba, we've got Bruno, we've got Sancho, we've got Varane. But then as soon as you say Solskjaer, it's like, not really expecting to do much.
He's not a top tier manager, is he? Like the others.
I don't think it would look as bad if Klopp, Tuchel, and Guardiola weren't chilling in the same league.
Yeah,
I mean,
massive.
If it was still an on the way out of Wenger, if Rodgers was still at Liverpool, if Pellegrini was still at City,
all progressive managers,
it wouldn't quite look as much of a drop off.
Yeah, you've got 3 of the best managers in world football, and then you've got Solskjaer.
Yeah, but then like say, and then he plays them and he gets a result against them when he needs to.
True.
So like I said, will history repeat itself, or was this finally the Cheshire Cat run out of his last life?
Well, let's get on to the actual game itself then. So could this be Liverpool ending Man United's managerial reign for the 2nd manager in a row? What's your thoughts on the score, how the match is going to go?
I mean, like I say, you're flying. We're struggling to find performances, let alone actually getting results. Sometimes you can say, we'll sign a champions. We're winning, but playing badly. I wouldn't say you particularly played well for a majority of the game yesterday, but you score 3 away to the Spanish champions and won your hardest fixture. So
yeah, I don't think they've lost at home in
exactly. Yeah, I think they said that's the first time they conceded 3 at home for like a couple of years or something in the Champions League.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's got to the point where you're sort of not really looking forward to like the big clashes because you're just thinking,
yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, is it a bad one? Yeah, I think obviously it is sometimes a bit of a bogey ground for you, but I think the golfing class is going to show. Obviously, we've got the fans back, but we go 1-0 down early on. Does it turn into like a West Ham where they're on their backs for the rest of the game, or do we actually come from behind again? But I think you'll be quite comfortable. So I'll probably go about 3-1.
Wow.
3-1 Liverpool.
Okay. Blimey. That'll be nice. I mean, again, Liverpool played last night in Spain. You're playing tonight. I mean, you are at home.
Yeah.
But we have had an extra day, even though it's traveling back from Spain. They would have got back last night. They'd have had a day off today, potentially. So team lineup wise, I look at Liverpool. I'll ask you for United prediction in a moment, but Alisson definitely starts the game. I think you're going to see a Robertson, Matip, Van Dijk and Trent back 4. Fabinho back in the midfield with Henderson. That third position in midfield is still up for grabs. Thiago still hasn't been on the bench yet. Neither has Jones. Milner has done quite well, and he seems to trust him in the big games. So I think Milner or Keita, because Keita started to play well. I know he got dragged off at half-time yesterday, but one of those two, and I think the front three is going to be unchanged with Firmino, Mane and Salah. So United 11, what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, De Gea's looked back to his best just because he's actually been, he's had that much to do. I think he's sort of forced into certain choices because obviously like injuries and bits and bobs. I wonder if he'll trust Maguire again after what we saw, because obviously he'll have another week of training.
No Varane, big call with Maguire.
Yeah, but that just shows that how little he trusts the backup if you're playing someone who's not ready to
50%,
go.
50%,
yeah.
Maybe Lindelof buy back too.
Possibly, yeah, just for a bit more pace. But yeah, it'll be Wan-Bissaka and Shaw as well. The midfield is probably the biggest talking point.
Difficult one to call, yeah.
Will he play it safe and just do the McFred and just sort of take Pogba out? Because the thing is with that, I know how much he loves Rashford and he's back. Came back with a goal.
Do you chuck him straight back in, do you?
I mean, I personally would, just to actually get just have a bit of excitement. Someone who's actually hungry and not been involved for quite a while.
Yeah.
I don't really think Sanchez has done enough to actually start.
Not in this big game.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rashford left.
Yeah, I'll go Rashford left. I think he'll go Greenwood right.
Okay. Lots of pace.
Yeah, maybe obviously Ronaldo up top.
Yeah, Bruno behind.
And then, like I say, it's either does he trust Pogba enough in the middle
with a Fred,
and then the fact that I don't think he'll put Pogba on the left is because Rashford's sort of just eager to get going. I don't know if he'll be involved tonight, so
yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Idea.
Obviously, there could be an injury tonight. Anything like that could happen.
That's the thing with us. Like your team is quite predictable when everyone's fit.
True.
Whereas with us, like if the manager doesn't know the best team, like it's quite hard for the fans to see what's
like
coming.
You say, it's good to have different options against different opposition. But like you say, you are at home, but you are at home to Liverpool. So do you play McFred or do you play a Fred and a Pogba? Because we've seen, like you mentioned, against Leicester, he didn't play either of them, and he let 4 goals in the way to Leicester.
I don't think at the moment we can pick a team. Like Neville was saying, I think part of me thinks he'll play the same team as Leicester and just say, give me a response, show me a reaction. And Carragher is sitting there laughing, saying, "Oh, yes, please."
Well, that's the thing. It's a good comment here from Downton Abbey, a regular watcher of the show. Packed out old toilet. Ollie fighting for his job. I think they'll get at least a draw, to be honest. Ollie's an expert in getting himself out of the dirt. And it's an interesting point because Liverpool on Twitter, Liverpool fans have been kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek. If we batter you, could this be the end of Ollie? Because we don't really want that. So, should it be a draw? Should it be a tight 1-0 win? Because I personally think you should always focus on yourself. You go out there, you win the game. Whatever happens, happens. Man United are going to change manager at some point. Whether that's tomorrow, this weekend.
I think through this run of fixtures, we're very close to how it was with Rodgers before he went. It's not like you ever want to see your team lose or get beat by a rival or anything. But it's one of them where, like, if we win tonight, it's like a bit of breathing space for him. If we get a point against you Sunday, it's like that's another month of eases off a bit.
Yeah.
And then we beat Spurs, that's all right. But then lose to City. Yeah. So it's all up and down, up and down.
You're sort of, this is the sack line, and you're kind of just bumping about here.
Sometimes it is better. Like Rodgers sort of just went
Yeah.
and it eventually went too far.
Four games in a row, 5 games in a row.
You know, if Rodgers would have got another 3 or 4 decent results, Klopp doesn't come in, and does he go somewhere else? And
absolutely.
So a few results, you know, like the next month could decide if we get a Conte or a Zidane, are they going to wait around, or does someone else come in for the Ajax manager?
Wow.
Do you know what
I mean, Juventus are looking great. Zidane
Exactly.
could go there, Conte could go somewhere else, and then you're thinking, oh, hang on. You know, we were quite lucky because Klopp was taking a sabbatical, wasn't he? And he wasn't really ready to come back, but he couldn't turn down the opportunity. So we thought Klopp suits Liverpool.
It's now or never.
It's now or never. I think you're right. I was thinking Conte / Zidane, but I think Zidane fits the profile. I think that would be the perfect appointment. So
it's just the football the football he's played for Madrid is what we want to see.
Yeah, exactly. The attack style of United. And
it's not like, oh, it's all glamorous, but you don't win anything. Like, look how many I think he won more trophies. I think he's got like 8 major trophies and only 7 like major defeats or something, or whatever it was.
Yeah, more trophies than losses. Yeah. In his first period of the manager. I mean, it's mental. You know, you mentioned Varane and Ronaldo worked with him. Pogba's French. That's another connection. Could you get the best out of him? I think that has to come at some point. I don't see. I mean, do you see Ollie finishing this season? Just quickly.
I mean, like I say, going through the last 2 that have left, we let Van Gaal finish the season. I think that was his 2nd year.
But you let Mourinho go during, didn't you?
Yeah, won an FA Cup, sacked the next day because he came 5th.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mourinho went in December after the Anfield defeat.
Yeah.
And then Solskjaer came in not to be it was never a long-term option. That's the thing. So,
but in the end, it was.
Yeah. So it's all about the ambition. You know, if we lose to you, Spurs, City, do the Glazers think, well, that's top 4 gone? True. So it's like, let's prep for next year, or is it let's try and sneak in up until the last, couple of months? Or are they that fussed about a trophy? I don't think they are.
I think it's the money for the top 4 that they're most concerned with.
I mean, the last straw for me, if we even dare to drop into the Europa League again after signing those 3, that'll be it.
I think that could be the one. I mean, score prediction wise for me, I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. I think we're definitely going to score because you don't keep clean sheets. Nope. I think you're going to score, but I think we're going to get an extra one. So Mo Salah, maybe Firmino as well. He does like a goal at United. A good header last season there as well. So just before we finish, though, I'm going to ask you a question. Who wins the league and who wins the Champions League?
Yeah, I think we're going to stick with my original prediction. I think I said City to retain it.
Okay.
Obviously, at the time, I was thinking Kane was on the move.
Yeah.
But Grealish is obviously giving him another option. But I just think they've not really got any worse. No. And also, they were quite comfortable last year because of the scenario.
I think, like you say, when push comes to shove, when the fixtures around Christmas come, Man City and Chelsea have got the biggest squads, haven't they?
Yeah. Like I say, they can cope with an injury.
Yeah.
Salah misses 2 months. Like,
we're in trouble.
Yeah. De Bruyne misses 2 months. You don't really notice with Silva and Foden.
And he has been out for periods. And like you say, Foden, Grealish, there's so many options in there. Bernardo Silva has played.
Like I say, like we miss like Varane's out and Rashford's been out, and we're like, oh no, like what are we gonna do now? So,
but then you've got people, Sancho and Lindelof that can come in and do a job. But
that's the thing with Solskjaer, that like he doesn't rotate. Like we saw in the Europa League final. Obviously, that was before the signings, but he played 120 minutes and didn't make a sub
because he knows the week. And
Villarreal made 5 because he plays for penalties from about the hour mark.
And that's the thing with Liverpool. Our backup brigade, me and James like to call them. When you need them, they're either injured or out of form, or they get their chance and they blow it. Minamino, Chamberlain, Keita.
I mean, with Klopp, he's actually started to rotate for the first.
It's been different this
time.
Season.
It's actually noticeable rather than just Salah off in the 87th minute. It's actually like Robbo, Trent. Let's think about next.
Yeah, I mean they had half an hour rest against Watford, and he brought on Smikas and then you get
the benefit of it over the next few weeks. So.
Yeah, it's all about squad management, but you have to trust what you have, and I agree. And that's something Liverpool haven't really been able to do. Last season we had an 11 pretty much fit every week. This season we've seen Jones used, Elliott used, Milner used a bit more, Williams used, Kanate and Gomez and Smikas, players that you wouldn't really usually see feature have all played their part. So we might see some rotation from Liverpool. I think we've got Preston after yourselves, where we'll play nobody. I think if it's anybody else other than Atletico last night, if we played Milan or Porto, I think Van Dijk or someone like that sits out. It was the biggest game of the group stage. We had to win, followed by the biggest game in club football, United versus Liverpool historically. I went on record and said that the Man City Liverpool game is bigger currently
Mm.
because it's the two best teams over the last 5 years.
It means more because it's a more likelihood that that's going to decide
That's
the outcome.
going to be, yeah. But in terms of historical rivalry, Liverpool United for me is the biggest fixture. So good place to end it. Thanks to everybody for watching. Any last things to say on the game or anything else we've missed?
I think we've covered most of it. Yeah, just hopefully we don't get absolutely
humiliated. No, I think it'll be close. You've gone 3-1. I've gone 2-1.
Yeah, I think
nothing like backing your club. Is there?
I was just trying to be a bit of a realist this time, I think.
No, that's fair enough. So that's been us, guys. This has been the Red Sea Podcast. In terms of what we've got coming up this week, please don't forget to follow us along. We've got a Rivals Point of View on Thursday, so tomorrow night. Statman Stubbs, your host. Me and James are going to be on there with 2 United fans as well, and they're going to be big guests as well, so keep an eye out for that. Saturday night, we've got the Fab Four, again, doing the United preview, so myself, James, Statman, actually, and Courtney as well. Possibly going to get one of the Aussie boys on as well from Red Sea Down Under. So if you haven't checked them out, they do some really good shows. They do the training ground where they predict how Liverpool can beat a team. Look at the Atletico one last night. The United one is coming up as well. And we will be on live after the United game on the LFC Day Trippers with your Red Sea full time. So other than that, that has been us. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.
And we're going to watch the Man United Atalanta game in about an hour's time. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.